Now, most people don't actually know this about me, but there was actually a time where I actually thought for a half a second about actually getting a lease. And if you know me, you know half a second means an eternity in my world, because I'm always thinking and overthinking and doing research and basically running the math and figuring out exactly, does this actually make sense? And I was thinking about, should I actually get a lease, okay? Should I actually go into the dealership, walk out with the car I actually want, lease it, and actually just have that car? And that usually tends to happen whenever you actually want to buy something you cannot afford to pay for in cash. So at a certain point, I wanted to remember a Lamborghini Urus, I wanted a Tesla Model X, I wanted a Porsche Cayenne, and all these cars are so expensive and I could not afford to just grab cash and pay for those things. And I was like, why don't I just lease it? It's cheaper, it makes sense. And you know, overall, when you start thinking about something, you usually tend to think about only the positives. So one thing I forced myself to do is to do research on all the negatives about whatever it is I actually want, and to come up with arguments that actually make sense. Or if it doesn't make sense, I kind of just walk away and say, hey, I thought this idea was good, but this idea is actually pretty terrible. So in this video, I'll tell you exactly, is a lease a good idea, or is it not a good idea to actually lease a vehicle? Now, the first thing you gotta understand exactly is, Tommy, what exactly is a lease? A lease is an agreement between two parties, you and the dealerships. They're agreeing to give you a vehicle that you can use for a fixed amount of time, and also a minimum or a restrictive amount of miles. Okay, they tell you, hey, you can use this vehicle for 2 years to 5 years. Usually you cannot put more than X amount of miles on it, and if you do, every mile you put in extra is going to cost you extra money, right? It just works like that. That is the agreement you actually go into the dealership to actually get. That is what a lease actually is. It's an agreement between you and the dealership. And then at the end of this agreement, you have to either, one, you walk away without the lease, right? Lease ran out. What happens then? Well, you walk away without anything, get back the car, you're done. Or number two is you basically grab that lease and it's done, it's finished, and you say, hey, I actually want to go ahead and buy that vehicle. Okay, you can actually buy the vehicle you were actually leasing in the first place. Or number three is you can go ahead and basically give back that lease and get another lease, and then do it all over again, and then you get a new, brand new spanking vehicle to new tech, new everything, and then boom, all right? That's the idea. That's the selling point of a lease. Now, you might hear this and say, Tommy, this is perfect. I can actually have the lease, ride it around, it's a brand new vehicle, don't gotta worry about the warranty because it's covered, right? Everything's fine. And in the end, I can do it all over again, give it back, no responsibility, everything is fine. But there are some fees associated with actually getting a lease. You know, you have the acquisition fee, the early termination fee, deposition fee when you actually bring it back, the mileage fee. If you actually went over the mileage, there's a fee for that. And you also have the excessive wear and tear, all right? So that all depends on what they actually think is excessive wear and tear. But again, it's not like you have to bring it back how you got it, because again, it's been 2 to 5 years, all right? So they know it's a used car, is gonna have a few dents and scratches here and there, but it just can't be excessive, all right? That's the idea. So here's a picture that I actually see all the time when it comes to a lease or a buy, and it kind of shows you like the reality of it. So with a lease, it's still under warranty. It's simple to return the lease at the end. It's a lower monthly payment. You can enjoy a brand new car with new technology, but when you buy, your monthly payments build equity. You keep the vehicle for as long as you want. There's no mileage restrictions, and on top of that, you can sell or trade the car when you actually are done, when you actually want. Now, the idea is very simple. You actually own the car when you own the car. When you're leasing the car, it's like a rental. You're basically renting the car and you have to give it back at the end. That's what a lease in reality actually is. So do I recommend you actually get a lease? The answer is no, for one objective answer, and it's because basically it's one of the most expensive ways to actually have a car, because in the end you walk out without anything, okay, at all. And you might say, Tommy, well, you know, a car is a liability. It goes down in value. So why would I want to invest money into buying a car, right? The answer is that's not true, right? Because it's still something you actually need if you need to transport yourself. But in reality, if you're looking at buying a vehicle that's brand new, that costs like $30,000 or $50,000, and you see a lease, you say, hey, the monthly payment is cheaper than it is that it would be like buying it or paying cash for it. The answer is obviously because you're comparing two things that are very expensive. But if you look at, for example, a lease, right? you pay that per month, walk away at the end with nothing, right? Or you buy a used vehicle for $5,000, $10,000. You can ride that vehicle for another 10, 15 years. This whole warranty talk is just an excuse to get yourself to buy something you know you don't need and to get into a deal you don't really need to get into, right? It makes absolutely no sense. It's one of the most expensive ways to get a vehicle, because in the end, you walk out with nothing when you're done with that vehicle. And yes, you can finance it, right? At the end, you can buy it. But guess what? By that point, depreciation is taking place. You pay the dealership enough money to kind of accommodate that cost of depreciation for them, right? So they made all the money they possibly can from this deal. And now in the end, you actually want to buy it. Okay, you're buying a depreciated vehicle, you actually already depreciated like crazy, and you build up no equity, you build up nothing. So what is the optimal way to actually own a vehicle, to actually ride a vehicle? My idea would be pay cash for the vehicle. All right, that's the whole thing. You know, my first vehicle was a Toyota Prius 2014. I paid $9,000 for it. I want to sell that vehicle so bad, but it's giving me a hard time to sell it. I made a mistake, you know, getting like those hybrid vehicles. I would have just gotten a standard Toyota Corolla 2017 and call it a day. Paid $13,000, sell like nothing in the end. But whenever you get into these weird deals with like hybrid vehicles, it's a little more difficult. But the big thing was I own that car. If I want to drive 1,000 million miles, I can if I want to. If I want to rent it out, I can if I want to. There is no monthly payment, nothing to worry about. And when something breaks, there's no way you buy a car for $5,000 or $10,000 and you're going to have like things to fix that are going to cost you in excess of like $20,000, right? There's no way. So you're better off to just basically buy a used vehicle, fix it as it goes along, than you are paying $30,000 for a vehicle to say, hey, at least I have 3-5 years of warranty. That's so stupid. It's so dumb. Don't do it. Okay, I don't recommend it. Now, thanks for watching this vehicle, guys. As always, remember, buying a lease or getting a lease is one of the most expensive ways to actually drive a vehicle. If you're already in a lease, try to negotiate out of it. Try to sell the lease for it. Try to do something and get out of it, and just buy a used vehicle. It's the most appropriate thing to do. And there is such a vast amount of vehicles in the market today. You can buy a Toyota Corolla 2011, 2005, whatever the deals are out there, depending on your budget, and you're able to ride around those cars for a long time without having to worry about them breaking. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, comment down below any questions, and let me know exactly what car do you drive right now. For me, right now, currently, I still own the Toyota Prius, but I live here in the Dominican Republic, not in Puerto Rico anymore, and I drive nothing. I don't even have a car right now, which is kind of crazy. But my next car is going to be, I don't know yet. We'll see. Okay, maybe I'll make a video about it when it happens. Okay, but I will not be leasing a car or financing a car when I buy a car. And I will not be buying a car I cannot afford to buy for in cash. All right, thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, and peace.